Okay, so call to order this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Monday, February 16th, 2021, via Google Meet. We are live streaming on Bevcam, and also you can tune in on channel 99 on your TV on Bevcam channel. Ms. Kent, would you please call the roll?
James? Here. Copeland?
Here.
Feldman?
Here.
Flaherty?
Here.
Flowers? Houseman?
Here.
Rand?
Here.
Rotundo?
Yeah, here.
Okay, so our first order is to read the script for remotely conducted city council meetings. I'm confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Estelle Rand, Vice President of the Beverly City Council. Before beginning the meeting, I would like to announce that this meeting is being recorded by the City of Beverly and live streamed by Bevcam on both Channel 99 and via Bevcam's YouTube channel. I'm confirming that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Yeah, good. Okay. Introduction to the remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Beverly City Council is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspended the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as adequate alternative public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting does not have public participation. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and televised live, and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants or viewers may be able to see and hear you, and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. You have the option to turn off your video if you are participating via computer. All participants should keep their microphones or phones muted unless recognized by me to reduce background noise and feedback. Please wait until the person speaking is finished before speaking so we can clearly hear all participants. In addition, because of the remote meeting, I'm going to read Rule 22 of the Rules and Regulations of the Beverly City Council. Rule 22. All subcommittees of the council shall cause records to be kept of their proceedings. They shall report by ordinance, order, or resolve, unless otherwise provided by law. No subcommittee shall act by separate consultation, and no report of as a body shall be received unless agreed in subcommittee, actually notified and assembled for the purpose in hand, and signed by a majority of the councilors of the subcommittee. Every subcommittee to which any subject may be referred shall report thereon as soon as possible after full consideration thereof and a vote thereon. However, if the council may by majority vote order any matter pending before a subcommittee to be acted upon the subcommittee at its next meeting and or be forthwith returned to full council. So this requires a roll call vote, and the gist of this is that we're voting to do all subcommittee work to vote on all subcommittee work as the whole council.
James?
Yes. Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Flaherty?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yeah. Yes.
Rotundo?
Sorry, yes.
And Rand.
Yes. Okay, and there are no public hearings tonight, so there's no public participation required, and each vote in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote, as we have gotten very used to somehow. Councilor Houseman, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I would be happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on our agenda tonight is a presentation or an update from Ms. Sue Gabriel, the Director of Beverly Bootstraps. Thank you to Councilor Rotundo for inviting Sue Gabriel for this important update. And Ms. Gabriel, it's a pleasure to have you join us this evening.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying to figure out if I can share.
You should be able
Lisa,
to.
do I have to ask? I'm much more used to Zoom than I am to Google Meet, so my apologies.
Yes, if you try to go on, I believe I have to just accept it.
I'm sorry. Tell me again, Lisa.
As you try to share it, I think it'll ask if you need permission, and then I can accept it.
Got it. Okay. Let me see if I can bring it up before we share everything. Let's see. We may not be able to share. I'm not. It doesn't look like it's allowing me to choose, Lisa. All right, well, maybe we'll go without. Although it's too bad for those at home.
I was going to say, I did send it to the council earlier.
And yes. So you did get the document earlier. Really, the purpose of me attending tonight is to make sure that all of you as counselors are informed. But also, I was a little bit hopeful that maybe folks at home who are watching tonight also would just be able to have an update. I just wanted to visit and say that, we are very well aware that there are folks in the community who maybe are newly in need. They've never really had to ask for help before. And so therefore navigating through the social service arena may be challenging for folks. And so I just did want to remind all of you that Beverly Bootstraps is a great starting point for any of the folks that are reaching out to you. If we can't help, we certainly will get people off to where they need to be. But there are other choices in the community as well. So if people are more comfortable to reach out to St. Vincent's de Paul or Salvation Army or NASCAP over in Peabody, certainly those are great resources as well. And for lots and lots of different needs for people. And, even something simply as if someone really needs some food assistance, if you just want to call the Project Bread hotline, they have a hotline that you can just go in through there. They'll be able to connect to you with lots of resources. But, if you want to stay local, reach out to us. We are always happy to just try to help somebody navigate through. It can be daunting. There are resources out there, but they aren't always really easy to put to get connected with. And we just want to make sure that if anybody's looking for that help, that it's as available to them as possible. So, please, if you're hearing from people and you're not even sure what to do, please reach out to us because that's the whole point is we really want to be able to help. So that's it, simply in a nutshell. Any questions, anything that that I can answer or help with tonight on this call?
Councilor Rotundo has a question.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I don't have a question. It's actually more of a comment in the statement. Ms. Gabriel, thanks for coming to the meeting, first of all. We had a great conversation last week about this. And the original intent with this conversation started out is we have these great resources in Beverly. We have so many different, whether it's a community meal or it's Bootstraps or St. Vincent de Paul, we have them all. And after the conversation you and I had, you were spot on when what I was trying to get across was you guys as a group collaborate with each other. So if someone feels comfortable going to Bootstraps or to St. Vincent's, you guys work with each other, which is phenomenal. And then, what you said to me best is bridging that information that's available to get it to the everyday person who may not be familiar with these services, and are even more so now because of the pandemic, that they've never ever thought of being used. So whether it's being humble or embarrassed. And something you said that struck me is they get themselves into a hole, and as it goes further on, they get themselves further into a hole that they can't get out of it. I appreciate the document you shared today with us, and I hope people will eventually get it. One of the things that struck for me was back in Thanksgiving, and it was over a community mail thing, that we have these resources. Why are we not getting it out? And then when I reached out, we couldn't locate it, or it wasn't all in one area. It was always existing. And that's when the original document was. It's just keeping it simple. And you did that perfectly today with this document. It's just basically, these are the services and these are the phone numbers. Because sometimes, just from my own experience growing up, we're in you're in a pandemic situation, but just in normal situations where you're poverty or you're struggling and you're doing everything you can. And sometimes it is overwhelming. You don't know how to find those resources. And I can't express my gratitude towards you for really, doing the work that you do amongst everyone. I mean, Councilor Hausman last year, when this whole pandemic, he reached out towards the homeless population. Councilor Flowers, I think everyone on this board has done some sort of reaching out with their either constituents or even with you guys. So I just want to really say thank you for everything you've done for the community.
Well, you're welcome, Todd, and Councilor Rotundo, sorry. And I do want to say, for anybody who's listening at home, community is a big circle. And we just have to remember that we're all going to be on that circle in some capacity or another. I always like to say, sometimes we are the givers on the circle, and sometimes we're the receivers on the circle. And that is what community is. And especially right now with the many, many challenges that are out in our community, please ask for help, because we've got to go through this pandemic together. We've got to try to recover together. And the more we can share the resources that are available in the community so that everybody comes out on the other side, the better off the whole community is. So please reach out if you're in need.
That's a great message to share. Councilor Hausman.
Yes, I just have a quick question related to the brochure that Ms. Gabriel provided to the council, and unfortunately is not being aired on BevCam. Is whether there is a place, I guess this goes to Ms. Kenner, Ms. Dixon, on the city website, where this particular brochure would fit well with some visibility for people who, might prefer to try to initially start their search for these kind of services anonymously or over the internet. Is there a way to do that, or is that already up in some fashion, Ms. Kent?
I'm not sure if it's up, but we can give it to Jocelyn, who will put it on the website. I can do that for her. She's on vacation this week, but I can send that to her. And I can also put it on a city clerk page.
I think that would be great. Thank you.
And Sue, can you see the present now on the bottom of your screen?
Mm-hmm.
If you hit that should bring it up. But because you're not the same Gmail, I think it's different.
Yeah, no, it's just, I can sort of see my screen, but then it won't let me do anything. I don't know, sorry. I guess I'm still learning this technology after all these months. Who would imagine? But we're on Zoom all the time where I am, so I know that very well.
We'll be sure to put it up, though,
Yeah.
so you can see.
Great. Well, thank you
a
for
great
having me.
suggestion. Thank you, Ms. Gabriel, and thank you for all the work and your leadership in our community. Thank you. Nice to see you tonight. Okay, thank you, Councilor Rotundo, for initiating that connection. I think you've been doing some really great work on trying to pull together resources and put them in a format that people can use. So at this time, I would accept a motion to stop the minutes of the February 1st, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Hausman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And now we'll go to communications from His Honor the Mayor. We have order number 30.
Order number 30. Dear Honorable City Council, I'm pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $98,268 formula grant from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. This grant supports operations of the Council on Aging. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this grant at your upcoming meeting on Monday, February 16, 2021. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. And I do see that Ms. Barrett has joined us even though she's on vacation. So thank you for your time tonight. Did you want to say something about this particular Council on Aging grant?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Rand. It's good to see you, and you're doing a great job.
Thank
I'm
you.
wondering how everyone knows I'm on vacation. But anyway, I'm just doing a couple meetings this week because I'm a one-person office, so it's when I'm not there, it's tough to ask anyone else to pick up the slack. But anyways, this is our state formula grant for the operations at the senior center. And we get roughly $100,000 a year, and it's really critical funds for us to be able to service our seniors. So we're really pleased to receive it. And I know that our director of the Council on Aging, Marianne Holak, is thrilled to receive this funding each year.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? Councilor Eames?
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, I was just curious, how are these funds usually expended traditionally?
These funds specific to the senior center? I think probably Marianne Holak could answer that, line by line, but I think it's everything from operations to funding some of the positions, some of the programs, and a part-time social worker. It's a lot of different things that are covered. So without this funding, we would be in jeopardy of providing the broad services that we do to our senior citizens in the city.
Thank you.
Great. Any more questions or comments from the council? Okay, and hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the grant, please.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kent. And order number 31, please.
Order number 31. Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $100,000 earmark from the Department of Conservation and Recreation. This earmark has been expended to update and modernize the many parks and recreation spaces in the City of Beverly. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this earmark at your upcoming meeting on Monday, February 16, 2021. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, do you have something to shed light on this grant for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Vice President. This was an earmark that was awarded by the state, and it's been a very unusual budget year due to COVID-19. Typically, we have 4, possibly 5 earmarks per year. This is the only earmark we are receiving in fiscal 21 that we know of, and it's specifically for upgrades and modernization at the parks and recreational spaces. And if you want to know, we do have a scope of work that was provided by our Parks and Recreation Director, Bruce Doig, and I can highlight a few of the things that these funds will be spent on if the councilors would like to hear that.
That would be great.
Okay, super. So we're going, the scope of work includes installing new ADA compliant water fountains at 15 parks and patching and repainting the 4 basketball courts. Repairing and replacing the benches in several parks. A lot of them are cracked and damaged and need to be replaced. Repairing broken play structure equipment and adding new components in various parks. The parks all have different play structures, and the age of those structures varies from park to park. So some maintenance on those. Completing renovations to several areas in Beverly Parks to enhance ADA accessibility and remove some obstacles. And finally, installing a concrete ramp from the parking lot to the pavilion at Aubert Park. And that scope of work totals roughly $100,000 for our parks and recreational spaces.
That's really exciting. I'm wondering, we have a couple of questions, but I'm wondering if you could share that scope of work through
Sure. Yep,
the clerk's
absolutely.
office. I know for me, I'd love to have that to refer to.
Yep, I'll share
Todd
that tonight.
Rotundo. Sorry, Councilor Rotundo.
No worries, Vice President Rand. I'm okay with that. The mayor's not on the phone. Don't worry, we're good right now. Actually, Ms. Barrett, a couple of questions. I'm going to use the fact that I'm still a freshman counselor. So the difference between earmark and grants, earmarks, I'm assuming, is the things that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, those are things that Mr. Doig is looking to do, that he has already basically put on a wish list, so to speak. That money would be earmarked for those things. And then the second question to that would be is, let's just hypothetically say, especially right now where we see one of the orders in front of us was the transfer for the turf field. And I don't know if you have this question to be able to, this answer on this, and if this would be more of a Bruce answer. Could that in essence be used for the turf field, just hypothetically, or do we have to specifically use it for those things that you had just read off to us?
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Those are excellent questions. The first one is, an earmark is different from a grant in the sense that we don't have to do an application to receive an earmark. Our senator and our representative typically lobby for earmarks for their district or their city or town. So I believe that Jerry Paracello was instrumental in securing the earmark, and Senator Joan Lovely as well. So we receive the earmark, and it's processed the same way it is as a grant or a donation or a gift. So legally, we have to submit from the mayor to the city council to accept and approve the funds that are being received so they can be expended. So in that sense, it's processed the same way as a grant. And your second question is excellent about the turf field. I'm not working on that project, and I don't have a lot of experience with that model, what's needed there and the financing. But I did see that there was a transfer requested, and I know that the turf field is about 10 years old, and it's in very, very poor condition and needs replacement. But I can certainly ask if this earmark funding can in any way be used to support that project as well. And I can have the mayor and the mayor's office get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilor Houseman.
Yeah, it just may be addressed by receiving from Ms. Kent the the scope of work that Ms. Barrett described. But Ms. Barrett, do you know off the top of your head, you mentioned repairs to benches. So I know that the picnic tables at Lynch Park are in kind of deplorable condition. Is benches intended to include those picnic tables, or is that, or is that a level of detail you're just not familiar with?
So I see specifically benches in several parks, new slats due to cracks and damage. I don't see anything specific about picnic tables, but I can certainly ask Bruce Doig if picnic tables is included. I don't think I see that in the scope of work as it reads right now.
And in terms of descriptors for the scope of work, if Mr. Doig were to hypothetically mean picnic tables, because they are benches to include benches to sit on, is there any kind of auditing or enforcement of how the money is spent to make sure that what's in the scope of work? This sort of relates to perhaps Councilor Rotundo's question in a sense. in what way is that scope of work binding on the expenditure of those funds? I assume it would be binding, but I don't know.
So we do have to provide a final report to the Department of Conservation and Recreation in August of 2021. And I believe we're supposed to be adhering to the scope of work that was provided for the earmark. But again, I'd have to follow up with Bruce Doig to see if there's any flexibility in there, if we do have a need for new picnic tables at various parks.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Barrett. Yeah, I'd look forward to that. I can also follow up with Mr. Doig on my own, but if you're going to do that anyway, we're related to the turf field as well. I'd be
Yep.
happy to. Thank you.
I will follow up on both turf field and picnic table questions.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Houseman. Councillor Flaherty.
As many of you know, I mean, we have these earmarks happen every year, which we're very thankful for Senator Lovely and Mr. Parasella and Catherine obviously steers us in the right direction for us. So that, which is a good thing. We unfortunately we didn't get as much as we did in past years. That's understandable considering COVID. But I think it would be a good idea to bring in Bruce Doig to kind of explain, because this is not all we're doing. Usually every year, the enterprise account funds for the recreation help pay for improvements to playgrounds. And that includes picnic benches, play structures. There are a number of parks that need a lot of attention. And we're always, as Wood Councilors, I know you guys are always trying to get your playgrounds up to speed and safe as well. So I think it'd be a good idea. I think we, go ahead. I don't think we need a public hearing on this, right? We just go ahead and approve this and then bring in Mr. Doig and ask him some questions on seeing where we are, see how COVID has affected his budget and relates to kind of trying to improve some of these playgrounds. But I think it'd be a good idea to get a pretty good idea on top of what this $100,000 will do for the playgrounds. Ms. Kent, can you set that up for maybe at another next meeting, possibly?
Yes, I did invite him tonight, but I didn't hear back, so he may be on vacation as well.
Yeah.
Like everybody is.
Sorry to interject. I think he may be on vacation,
Yeah.
but I'm certain that he would be happy to come and present to the council the plan.
You're on vacation and you're here.
I know, but I'm bringing in a lot of revenue through grants, so that's a good thing, right? I'm not spending the money.
Thank you.
That's a great suggestion, Councillor Flaherty. And Councillor Copeland.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice President. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to just throw this out there. I spoke with Bruce Doig previously because I had to inquire about some of the parks in my ward. And he did mention specifically this earmark. So he definitely was looking to use it towards some of the things you were talking about. So things like the turf field and everything else, I don't think he had planned for in mind. But I'd love to have him come here and be able to explain it a little bit more better to us. But I know from what he was talking about, there was stress on the budget, and he wanted to be able to use this earmark towards these specific things that Ms. Barrett was talking about. So I know he's definitely looking forward to those funds to be utilized towards that. But again, love to have him come here and just expunge a little bit more as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Copeland. Yeah, I'm excited to hear that the basketball courts will be redone, and that's like, as Councillor Flaherty said, as a ward councillor, that's one of the things that's always on the top of the list to see some work there. So if any other questions or comments from councillors? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the earmark.
So moved.
Second?
And a roll call, please.
James?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Bauman?
Yes.
Flaherty?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Rand.
Yes, thank you. And now we're on to order number 32.
Order number 32. Dear Honorable City Council, attached for your review and approval is the proposed 2021 member rate schedule for the Beverly Golf and Tennis Club, submitted by Golf Facility Management, Inc. and recommended by the Beverly Golf and Tennis Commission. There are no changes to the rule and member permit fees that were in place for 2021. The Beverly Golf and Tennis Commission hereby requests the golf fees for member permit fees be increased This was the first increase in 10 years, with the average increase less than 5% across the board for 2021. The 2021 rates have been reviewed and accepted by the Commission on January 12, 2021. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. I'm not sure. I see there is somebody on with just a phone number. I don't know. Do we know, is that Mr. Loud by any chance? I don't know if he's joined us for this meeting. Okay. And I'm not sure if there's someone from the mayor's office who's prepared to take questions on this matter. That would also fall to you, Ms. Barrett, or let's see. Go ahead, Councilor Flaherty.
I mean, obviously, they do this every year, but I think it's a good idea. Again, I hate to invite everybody under the sun to the meetings, but I think it'd be a good idea to invite them in, because most golf courses, from what I understand, have seen a influx of golfers because of COVID and people are staying home. It'll be really interesting to see what the condition of the golf course has been this past fall, and what they see for more members. I mean, I would think that the Belly Golf and Tennis would be kind of in line with other golf courses and seeing a lot more members, and why the increase. And obviously, it's probably needed, but it'd be a good idea to get an idea of where they're coming from and what the golf course is looking at from their long range planning.
Yeah, and I think that's a great suggestion, Councilor Flaherty. Normally, I know if we were in council chambers, Mr. Loud would be right there. So I don't know if the virtual meeting is prohibitive to him, but Councilor Feldman.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is kind of along the same lines of Councilor Flaherty's note, but I was curious to see if the numbers and the budget and the rates reflected any of possibly, are they having limitations on how many they can sell based on restrictions in the state, or if they were doing better. I just was curious about the numbers due to the uptick in recreational activities outdoors. So I don't know if there's anyone on this call that can speak to that.
So why don't we invite the golf facilities management team in, and also the Beverly Golf and Tennis commissioners in to a future meeting, and we can maybe hold this until we have more access to getting some questions out there and answered. So I would accept a motion to hold order number 32.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kane,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kent. And now we're on to order number 33, please.
Order number 33, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Brennan Sweeney from 19 Federal Street, Beverly, to serve as member of the Planning Board. Mr. Sweeney will be fulfilling the term of Ms. Allison Kilcoyne, who recently stepped down from the board. His term will be effective until December 31st, 2022. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Houseman, please.
Yeah, I'm curious to get a little clarification. So this would typically, I believe, go to legal. And because of the pandemic and remote hearings, we're not having subcommittee meetings. At the same time, I know Councilor Copeland had requested when he first came on board a subcommittee meeting of legal, and I'd suggested we would try to do that. I'd be very interested in meeting Mr. Sweeney. I know that's something that the subcommittees do on occasion, that have some of the volunteers come in, especially if they're new, when they're not a reappointment, but a brand new member. I would be interested in knowing whether members of legal would like to meet in subcommittee and just try to have a quick, if you will, meet and greet with Mr. Sweeney. I know we have a delay until our next meeting anyway, as council of the whole, in order to be able to vote on this appointment.
I do,
Ms. Kent,
he is invited for the March 1st meeting, just for your information. We don't invite him generally the first night. We do it when the voting night. But if you change that, we can do that. I just have him on for March 1st.
Okay, that's great.
And-
Good to know. And perhaps we could get some kind of I don't know, his application to the mayor or something like that, so we have some background about him before he comes in, so we can be familiar with that.
sure. I actually had the pleasure of having a conversation with Mr. Sweeney about 2 or 3 weeks ago because he was just expressing interest in serving the community further. So this was before he was appointed, the mayor chose to appoint him to the planning board. So I highly recommend having a conversation with him. Very talented and interesting. Councillor Flaherty.
No, I just wanted to say the same thing, basically to bring him into the full council March 1st, but Ms. Ken already mentioned that, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Copeland.
All right, thank you. From what I just heard, I guess he's coming to our regular council meeting on March 1st. It would still be nice if we could come together as a legal committee and perform the actual duties that we normally would do, so we can just go through that process, since I know myself, I haven't done it at all at this point. And it would be nice to have an opportunity to do so, especially with something like this, before something major comes up and we've never met. So if it's possible, like Councilor Hausman was saying, I'd like to do something like that if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kent, there's no reason why a subcommittee could not meet, correct? It would just have to be posted as it usually is, and it would be held virtually and open to the public.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And clerk of committees
So,
is Christine Dixon, so she would post that and then she would be at the meeting.
Okay. So, Councillor Hausman, are you saying that you're going to have a legal affairs committee meeting next Monday?
Yeah, I think that would be a good drill to do. Given the pandemic and the way the virtual meetings run, we haven't done that. But I think it makes sense to do, especially for Councilor Copeland, who's never had the benefit of that kind of proceeding, to sort of get his feet wet before. Before we ever have a chance to do something that may be more pressing business for legal affairs, just so he gets the idea of how they run. So I guess I'll say to Councilor Feldman as well as Councilor Copeland, if next Monday, typically we hold subcommittee meetings on every other Monday nights. If you could let me know if that's a problem. If not, I will schedule a subcommittee meeting for next Monday evening, legal affairs, that is, through the clerk's office.
The only problem would be that it won't be 7 days, so you won't be able to vote on this appointment because today's Tuesday and you need a 7-day to vote. So
Yeah,
FYI for that.
sure, understood, and that's not uncommon with subcommittee meetings as well. But thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. So let's refer order number 33 to the Legal Affairs Committee, please. Order number 34, please.
I think that Councilor Flaherty would like to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Flaherty. Thank you, Ms. Kent.
That's okay, Vice President. I just want to clarify something too, because to help Councilor Copeland, does anybody know, I know that the President is not on the call and the Mayor's not here, but I understand with COVID restrictions, it's been a difficult year. Even going with the legal affairs on Zoom, Google is still going to be a different way how we go about things. I would like to get back to regular council meetings, and I know we can't do it in our council chambers. If anybody's seen our council chambers, they're a mess right now, and because of the flood from the roof. But I know they're working on it. But I think it is sometimes is challenging to get the business of a city council meeting. I think we've done a great job, and everybody's been pretty understanding. But for the public's sake, and for especially someone like Councilor Copeland to get a true sense of how we operate our business. I'm not saying we have to do it, next week, but it would be nice to kind of have some kind of plan in place, by April or by May to say, whether we can't go into the council chambers, whether we go into the middle school like we did before for one meeting. I think it would help everybody, especially when we see, the teachers going in there too. I think it would help us kind of get a little respect in a way. I've heard from some of them kind of wondering why we're not at meeting, but I understand why. But it would be nice to meet in public. We could talk about this another time. It's not really the time really to talk about it, right? Maybe, but for Mr. Copeland, I think it would be nice, and for all of us to get back to the business if we possibly can in the near future.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Yeah, I never really thought I would miss council chambers, to tell you the truth, but I do. I'm all set sitting in my little corner at the house doing these meetings. Let's see, Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Just to reiterate what Councilor Flaherty said, understanding the infrastructure at the council chamber, but have we reached out to the school department? And we did have that one meeting at the middle school. Is that something that we still can explore? And again, I know realizing that the full council is not here, but it seems like we just keep avoiding the conversation, in my opinion. We, every so often we'll throw it out there, but is there a reason why we haven't explored going back to the school? The middle school, as the school committee has?
That's a great question, Councilor Rotundo. And I just today had a good conversation with Ms. Kent about the process of getting back to being in person and the limitations on how many people can gather. And I don't think it's impossible. I think it's worth further discussion. But what does happen is that because we're limited to, 12 to 20 people or something in that space. Is it 12, Ms. Kent, that they want in that
12.
space?
Right.
12. So for example, we have 15 people on this call right now. And if we wanted to bring in, Mr. Perry and Mr. Ailes and Ms. Barrett, then we just have to juggle people coming in and out of that space, which I think could be really valuable for, maybe a budget meeting or something. That's when we get back to that. But ultimately, that's a pretty complicated process for our clerk's office our clerk's department to handle. But I think it is important, like you said, to keep having the conversation.
And
Yes.
Council
Councilor
President,
Rotundo. Oh,
sorry, I apologize.
no, you go ahead. Yep, go ahead, Ms. Kent.
I have always, we keep talking about it to try to get it back, but we, again, there's 9 of you, there's 2 of us in the clerk's office, that's 11 right there.
Right. So, but I think my question would be now is, have we reached out to the school department recently? I mean, we're talking about going a few months back when that was the restrictions. And I know there are restrictions, and those were really, from my understanding, speaking with the solicitor, was really to do with, the on-camera things and things of that nature. The restrictions are really imposed by what the school department had said to us. From my understanding, speaking with the solicitor, which when we did the presentation of the resolutions was, we could ultimately fit 15 people, and it would be a changing in and out. But I mean, also the fact of that, the way the meeting would be conducted. So from what I was told is that certain people being in on the meeting, whether it be, you, Ms. Kent, or Jerry Perry, who worked for the council directly, wouldn't affect it as badly. I mean, I know it's a logistical thing, but again, it just speaks to the show and to the community that we are working towards it. That gives a little more sense of what Council Flaherty said is, we have people going into these buildings, and yet we're working from home, and so I think it just kind of gets a little hypocritical, in my opinion.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Councilor Houseman.
Yeah, I think that the point made about about modeling and setting a good example is an important one, but I also would personally want more information about it, because the CDC indicates that, you know, schools are not a serious problem. I know there's a lot of back and forth between teachers unions and the CDC about you know, whether schools are safe, but generally the science says that COVID is not a source of spread because of the age of the student population that's actually inside of the buildings. Whereas if we have council meetings, I'm not sure that's the best with many adults. I don't know if the answer one way or another, so I don't really have a position on it. But it's not clear to me that we'd be modeling what the kind of behavior that we're asking the rest of the community, because I'm not sure that we are an equivalent body in terms of our demographics, our age, I guess, really, to the school population. Speaking as a senior member of the council, so I'm just speaking as myself. But I'm happy to. I think we should be modeling good behavior. I'm just not sure that what's being suggested is in fact the right modeling behavior. I'd like more information about it so we can really, so that we can continue this conversation. Thank you.
Great point, Councillor Houseman, and thank you for that conversation. I know that we got a little off track, but it just goes to show that how everything we're doing really is affected by the pandemic, and constantly kind of revisiting these conversations is important. So thank you. I think if it's okay, we can move on to order number 34.
Order number 34. Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request a transfer of $750,000 from the city's certified free cash balance to fund the replacement of the turf field located at the high school campus. The original turf surface and infill was installed in 2010, and the synthetic turf is now reaching the end of its service life. Additionally, technology has made considerable progress, and our installation of the middle school turf has proven that better products now available are safer for our athletes, more environmentally friendly, and may provide longer useful life than the technology used during the high school turf field installation. Fortunately, the subsurface and drainage infrastructure is working well and will not require an additional scope. The funding requested will enable the city to contract with an installation manager, install a subgrade impact reducing pad, replace the crumb rubber infill with newer technology, and replace the turf surface. We are hopeful that your timely authorization will provide the ability to secure a contractor to perform the work during upcoming summer months. I look forward to discussing this request in an upcoming meeting. The free cash transfer requires a public hearing be set prior to a final city council vote. Please initiate action to your city council meeting by scheduling a public hearing. That's a lot.
Thank you. Yes, you do a great job. There's more to come, right? A few of these in a row. So I would entertain a motion to set the public hearing for that transfer on our March 1st meeting at 7:15 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call vote, please.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Flaherty?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Rand.
Yes, thank you. So order number 35, please.
Order number 35. Dear Honorable City Council, you will recall this past July that you authorized the purchase of a frontline ladder truck for the fire department with a loan authorization of $1.3 million. That was a necessary step to allow the city to legally order the truck, and you will recall our recommendation and intent was to place the order and upon certification of the June 30th, 2020 free cash balance to pay for the purchase with cash and rescind the loan authorization approved in July. Therefore, I respectfully request a transfer of $1,300,000 from the city's certified free cash balance for the purchase of this ladder truck and to rescind City Council Order number 153 of 2020, the loan authorization of $1.3 million for the purchase of the ladder truck. This free cash requires a public hearing be set prior to City Council vote. Please initiate action at your next City Council meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing for this transfer at our March 1st meeting at 7:45.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call vote, please.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Raymond.
Yes. I do have one question about that order, Ms. Kent. Do we need to take action on rescinding the council order? Would we do that as part of the public hearing?
I believe it's part of the public hearing, yes.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I'm keeping things straight.
You're doing great.
Okay, order number, thank you. Because of your support, I really appreciate it. Order number 36.
Order number 36, Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request the following two transfers from the city's certified free cash balance. First, $983,418 to be placed into the city's stabilization fund. This requested amount represents 10% of the certified free cash balance and is consistent with the city's stabilization fund policy. Second, I request a transfer of $198,684, representing 2% of the city's certified free cash balance to be placed into the city's other post-employment benefit trust. This request is also consistent with city policies. Continued investment in these areas is crucial to the city's long-term financial health, and I ask that the City Council approve these transfers requests totaling $1,192,102. This free cash transfer requires a public hearing to set before the City Council vote. Please initiate action at your next City Council meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing for this transfer on our March 1st meeting at 8:15 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes. Okay, and order number 37.
Order number 37, Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully ask that you approve a transfer of the city's free cash balance in the amount of $2 million to be placed into the new police station capital project fund. You will recall that the total budget of roughly $29 million is comprised of anticipated investments of cash as well as targeted borrowing of $24 million. This transfer request is necessary to help meet the targeted level of cash investment that is necessary and planned for the project. With your approval of this transfer, the city will have invested a total of $5 million in cash to date and will now be in line with its borrowing target set with the project initially authorized. This request will require a public hearing be set prior to final action by the City Council. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. I would accept the motion to set a public hearing for this transfer on our March 1st meeting at 8:45 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. Order number 38 we're going to hold that until our March 1st meeting per the mayor's request. And we'll move on to order number 39.
Order number 39, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Jonathan Cassidy at 12 Michael Road, Beverly, to serve as constable in the city of Beverly for the express purpose of serving civil process. Attaches Mr. Cassidy's application, which has been approved by Police Chief John LaLatcher. Mr. Cassidy's term will be effective from March 1st, 2021 until March 1st, 2024. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number,
And
oops, sorry.
you got it. 41.
One. Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a Student Awareness of Fire Education SAFE grant of $6,380 and a Senior SAFE grant for $2,880. Total grant award is $9,898 for public fire and life safety initiatives in our community. This important grant funding will be used by the Beverly Fire Department to teach fire and life safety to children in schools. The program teaches students to recognize the dangers of fire and the fire hazard of tobacco products through 23 key fire safety behaviors taught in developmentally appropriate ways. In addition, grant funding will be used for the Senior Safe program, which aims to reduce older adult fire deaths through fire and life safety education. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gifts to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve these grants by taking action at this matter of your meeting of February 16, 2021. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor. And Chief O'Connor is with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Chief O'Connor, for being with us for this whole meeting. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this grant?
Yes, thank you very much. This is a grant that we get every year. It was put in by Captain Matt Hart. Basically, there's a group of firefighters that have an additional duty of doing public education. They get out into the schools, they get out into elder housing, any place that we can spread the message of fire safety. And I really got to tell you, these folks, this last year in particular, it was a very challenging year. And they came up with some really unique ways to spread the message. And it was probably one of the best years of getting the message out that I've seen in a long time, in spite of all the COVID stuff. And that's a real credit to Captain Hart and his crew. So I really owe them a lot. So thanks, Ms. Barrett, for your help with this, and to Captain Hart and his crew for getting the grant money in. So look forward to another year of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Barrett, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes, thank you, Vice President. I just wanted to add that the two grants actually total $9,260, and I take full credit for fuzzy math in the letter. I'm not sure how I came up with that total, but it was not accurate. So it's $9,260 is the total of the two Senior Safe and Safe grants. I just wanted to also add that if any of the counselors are interested in information about a grant that the city has received, they can go on to the Beverly Mass website, beverlyma.gov website. You can go to the grants office page, and all of the grants since I started in 2017, I should say all the grants, I'd say about 95% of the grants are listed there. There's a short description of them, who they're awarded from, how much the grant is for, and it's under the tab recent grants, and you can click on the year and look up specific grants. If we cover one in a city council meeting and you can't recall what it was for or what it was going to be spent on, you can specifically look there. You can also reach out to me and call me or email me as well. So thank you.
That's great information, Ms. Barrett. Do we have any questions from the council or comments? Nothing. Okay. Ms. Kent, do we need to amend the dollar amount of what we're accepting in the motion, or?
Catherine, you would know more. Should we put the accurate?
Yeah, I don't know if you can you can manually edit the total of the two grants. It's $9,260.
We can in the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So I would accept a motion to approve the grant in the amount of $9,260.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And I would entertain a motion to accept the late file of order number 42.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And would you please read order number 42, Ms. Kent?
Order number 42, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Kevin Solidolo, 4 Sherwood Lane, Beverly, to serve as member of the Beverly Housing Authority. His term will be effective until June 28, 2025. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor. Paul usually corrects me when
Thank
I
you.
say the name.
I think you said it correctly, so good
you.
work. And please refer that to Committee on Public Services. Okay. Communications, applications, and petitions. We have order number 40 from Mass DOT on service about service reductions. Would you normally read that, Ms. Kent, or we're just going to receive it in place?
I can
Sorry,
read
say that again.
for the minutes.
Okay.
Order number 40, communication from Mass DOT environmental notification form for MBTA's potential service reductions in 2021.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to receive and place on file order number 40.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And reports from committees. We have order number 10. This was Councillor Copeland's order referring to the sinkholes out in Beverly Farms. And I would accept a motion to receive and place that file on order. Receive and place it on file.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
And a
Ames,
roll call.
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And good work on that. I love that you came to your, I think it was your first council meeting ever with some awesome constituent work. So congratulations, Councilor Copeland. And order number 25.
Order number
That's,
25, communication from the mayor for a reappointment for Parking and Traffic Commission for Leslie Gould and Darlene Nguyen.
I would accept the motion to approve order number 25.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call?
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you. And we've reached the end of our agenda. Does any counselor have something to share with the community who are at home watching, I'm sure? Any comments, questions? Okay, excellent. Then I would accept a motion to adjourn this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Rand.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kent, and thank you all. That was fun, though I do miss President Guanci. It was fun to do that every now and then and try and fill his shoes.
You did good.
So,
Bye, everybody.
yeah, thanks for your patience. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.